The night I realized I was my own worst enemy did not come with noise or drama. It came quietly, sitting with me in a dark room where even my phone light felt too loud, and in that silence I felt something heavy pressing on my chest, like a truth that had been waiting for years, and I remember asking myself a simple question that suddenly felt dangerous. Why does my life feel stuck, even though I keep trying? And as that question echoed in my head, I began to replay moments I usually avoid, the chances I delayed, the words I swallowed, the dreams I talked about but never touched, and I always blamed fear or people or bad timing or luck, but that night those excuses felt thin, almost fake, and I started to notice a pattern that made my stomach drop. Every time something important was close, I pulled back. Every time I could grow, I found comfort instead. Every time I failed, I spoke to myself in a way I would never speak to someone I loved, and it hit me that the voice that doubted me the most was not outside, it was inside, calm but sharp, protective but cruel, telling me to wait, to stay small, to not risk embarrassment. And I realized how smart it was, because it used my past pain as proof. It reminded me of every time I failed, every time I was laughed at, every time I tried and it hurt, and it said, "See, this is who you are. Safer to stay here." And for years I believed it. I followed it like a guide, thinking it was keeping me safe, but slowly I saw the damage. How it trained me to delay my life. How it made me proud of patience, while quietly stealing my courage. How it disguised fear as logic, and comfort as wisdom. And the scariest part was that I helped it, I fed it with overthinking, I strengthened it with comparison. I listened to it more than my own desire, and I realized I was not failing because I was weak. I was failing because I was fighting myself every day without knowing it, waking up with plans but going to sleep with regret, wanting change but fearing the version of me that would need to exist to get it. And there was a strange sadness in that realization, because it meant no one ruined my chances more than me. But there was also a quiet power hiding there, because if I was the problem, then maybe I was also the solution. And I sat with that thought, feeling exposed, feeling responsible, feeling awake in a way I had not felt before, and I noticed how my body reacted when I imagined, choosing differently, how my heart beat faster, not from fear but from recognition, like it knew this truth long before my mind accepted it, and I understood that my worst enemy was not my fear itself, but my obedience to it, not my doubts, but my agreement with them, not my past, but my refusal to stop reliving it. And that night I did, not suddenly become brave or confident or successful. Nothing magical happened, but something subtle shifted. The fight changed direction. I stopped asking why life was against me and started asking why I kept standing in my own way, and that question felt sharp but honest. And honesty, even when it hurts, has a way of clearing space. And as the room stayed quiet and the night moved on, I made a small decision that felt bigger than all the loud promises I had made before. I decided to stop treating my inner voice as a boss and start treating it as a signal, something to notice but not obey, something to understand but not follow blindly. And I knew it would not be easy, because the mind hates change, even when change means freedom. But for the first time I felt alert. Not hopeful in a dreamy way, but aware in a grounded way, like someone who finally turned on the light and saw the mess clearly. And I realized that growth does not always feel like motivation. Sometimes it feels like discomfort, responsibility and silence. And as I lay there breathing slowly, I understood that the real battle of my life was not with the world, it was with the habits, thoughts, and stories I kept repeating, and that awareness did not fix everything, but it changed the direction of my steps. And if you are listening to this feeling something tighten inside you, maybe it is because you recognize it too. That quiet truth that has been waiting for you in your own silence, not to judge you, but to wake you up.